To test my new find minimum credits method, I am going to put some code into run tests to do what I need. So I might say student test array, it's new student, maybe we'll put 3 in there for now. Usually I would never put a 3 in here, I'd put a constant for it, but I'm about to delete all this code anyway. So in the interest of time, I'm putting a 3. Now I'm going to make a couple of students. Test array, 0, gets a new student. Actually, you know what? I'm going to copy some of my code from the other file because it will be faster. And just put them into the array instead. Okay, now I'm going to find out who is the student with the fewest credits by calling my method. Student with fewest credits should be, let's see, Rocky Squirrel. And let's put a new line in there, and then we'll print out plus find minimum credits minimum, and I'm going to pass the array because it takes that as a parameter. I think I need another parenthesis here. Yes. Okay, so I'm putting 3 students into my array. I'm passing it to find minimum credits, and find minimum credits is supposed to be looping through this array and finding me the minimum. Okay, let's see how it goes. Yes, indeed, it has found it correctly. Now, let me take a quick look at this and tell you what's on my mind in terms of architecture. So here's what we know about variables, to just recap. The curly brackets in which a variable is first declared is where it lives. So student lowest, so the lowest, is born on line 32 inside find minimum credits. That means that down at 444, this is where lowest dies. Outside of find minimum credits, nobody knows about lowest. Same with this named array. It's named array. I can only refer to it as array until line 44. So I'm passing my array in from up here, but the names, that's how the names work. So test array is born on line 18 here, and it dies at line 25. Nobody else can use test array. So this is okay for our purposes, and this is how we've been writing code so far, but I want to expose us to another idea, which will be the better idea going forward. This is a student information system. When I make a new student information system, I would like its list of students to stick around forever, for the lifetime of the information system. And so I would like to declare my actual list of students in here, because then it's good from line 14 all the way to the end of the class, line 52. So this thing will live the entire time the student information system is alive. That is my preferred method. Therefore, instead of putting local arrays and passing arrays around, now that I am getting a little bit more familiar with writing classes, I am going to use my special array that is around for my whole lifetime, student list. Wherever I would have used array before. I'm resting easy on this account because you'll see, I show you the other way, sort of the old way to do it in the lab, but this is a better idea. If I didn't want to write all that code, I could have set test array equal to student list, but just to to make it not so confusing. Now all of these methods are using student list. Is that possible? Yes, it totally is possible, because the student list lives out in the class. It's available in any method. That's magical. Now I have one trouble. When I run this program as is now, I'm going to get a crash. And let's see what that crash is going to be. Oh, whoops, I'm passing student list. So this error says, find minimum credits in the class cannot be applied to given types. It's required no arguments, and what's found is somebody is trying to pass it arguments. And that's happening on line 23. That's because I removed the parameter. So therefore, I do not need to pass it a parameter anymore. It knows it's operating on the student list. Okay, now let's see if we can crash it. Yes, null pointer exception, line 18. Well, let's have a look. Student list sub 0. Well, now this is, sometimes I would have to put this into NetBeans or debugger to find my null pointer, but in this case, it can't be anything over here that's null, because there's nothing that's possibly null. There's a string and 2 integers, and I'm making a new student. So it must be the thing on the left that's null. And indeed, the only thing could be student list. So then the question is, why is student list null? Well, student list is null because I declared it here, but I didn't actually say equals new student anywhere. That should happen in the constructor for my class, and I haven't written a constructor method now. So now is a good time to do that. I like to put the constructors at the top. I'm just going to make a default constructor. Public student info system, so similar to the default constructor I just wrote for student. But here, the one thing I need to do is I need to initialize my one property. Student list equals new student, and then I get to choose a number. I think I'll put it up here too. Private final int num students equals 3. Okay, that should do it. Now, the moment that I make a new student information system, which is right here, the constructor gets called. Then we're up into the constructor, the student list gets a new student array put into it, and then I start calling run tests. Run tests, put stuff in the student array. I think I'm good. Let's give it a try. Yep, working well. So this is just an example of how you would really do this now that we are working with class architecture. I would not pass around an array as a parameter if this array is supposed to stick around for the lifetime of the class. In the lab, we'll show a different method because we're just doing it from main, so I think that's appropriate. But we'll just give you another look at it. In this class, I would say either one is fine. When you get to, for those of you who are going on to the next level Java class, you're about to spend an entire semester talking about object-oriented architecture, where you'll cover issues just like this one.